may we not only hear the words that you have to say, but may we put them into practice. We love you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pastor, I understand we have something here that's unusual and this bothers you. So let me explain this right away. It seems to me the relationship between God and Israel is something like a tree. There's this initial moment of creation that comes out, and then the relationship takes all sorts of different twists and turns and goes in different directions. Some things are really central to the relationship and seem to hold everything else up. And then some things seem to be there just because, I don't know why, but they're there. And I imagine in this relationship with God that all over the tree there must be these memories, moments when God showed love for God's people. They're all through the scripture. I think of in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And God had this beautiful relationship with humanity in the garden. God spoke to Adam and Eve and said, "Create with me, name the animals, tend the garden." God called out to Abram, "Come and follow me, and I will make you the father of more children than you can count." Then it turns out Abram and Sarah can't have any kids. And then 100 years later, when the man is quite old, God keeps God's promise and sends Abram his firstborn son. I think of Joseph, whose brothers sold him into slavery, and God made him the second most powerful man in all the world. And then God uses Joseph to provide through a famine that would have killed off many. And God provides. When bad things happen to the good people of God, when Israel is taken captive by Egypt, God speaks to Moses through a burning bush. God reveals that Pharaoh is powerless and splits in half the Red Sea. And God delivers God's people. The story goes on and on and on. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are thrown into a fiery furnace. And when they look inside, they say, "King, didn't you throw in 3? Because now there are 4. And the last one shines like the very Son of God." David and Goliath. Daniel is tossed into a lion's den, and the lions' mouths are shut tight. As the people wander through the desert, God provides manna to feed them with. And speaking of manna, God splits the rocks in half and opens up sand dunes with rivers of water where it just could not be. There are all of these moments in Scripture of peace, of healing, of forgiveness, of love that comes time and time and time again. You know, this is an example of Israel's relationship with God. But truth be told, I think our relationship is a lot the same. Surely there are times you can remember when God showed up. When God put somebody in your life who was just better than you deserved. Somebody who took care of you. Surely there are moments in which God provided, when God heard your prayer and answered it. This morning, I thought maybe we could take these critical moments in our faith and join them up to the critical moments in Israel's relationship with God. So you should have received, when you came in, a couple green little leaves like these. If you didn't, just hold your hand up. I've got a guy in the back who's itching to pass out some leaves. Keep him up. He'll make his rounds eventually. Just make sure you signal those for our ushers. What I'd like you to do this morning is I would like you to think of these moments when you know God was present, when you know God did something, and I'd like you to write a word on a leaf that's representative of that moment. I don't know what the word would be. It could be anything that's significant to you. It could be a name. It could be a date. It could be a concept like love or forgiveness, whatever it is. Would you do me a favor? Would you write a separate one for each moment that you want to do? Try to do at least 2 leaves for me. If you need more, Sam, is looking for exercise. He'll walk around and pass out leaves all day long. As we do this, the band is going to play music. And when you finish your leaf, you'll come forward, and I have teenagers itching for something to do. They'll give you a little hanger, and I invite you to hang your leaves on the tree. If you want, I've got a couple who are not afraid of heights. They'll be here to hang them up high. Give them to them. If you can't make your way down, give them to a neighbor. They'll bring them down, or have an usher come forward. But write a moment that's significant, that you know God was acting in love towards you. Bring those things down, and we'll hang them on the tree. Now, this should be a time when we're serious about what we wrote. But this is a celebration of good things that God did. It is not a funeral. So I invite you to enjoy the music, enjoy one another, and enjoy the celebration as we do. So when you're ready, bring those leaves on forward, and we'll go from there. That is a lot of leaves. When you really start to look at it, I mean, they are piled in on top of each other. Could I just say this? I know that there are moments in which it feels like God is not present. There are moments it feels like God is not nearby or active. And right there are, I don't know, 300, 400, 500, 600 moments where we as a church say, no, 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 no. That's when God was there. That's when God was moving in my life. But would you allow that image just to sort of burn into your mind for the moments when God seems far? To correct yourself and to say, no, God is not far. God is near to me. God is near to God's church. So it seems that as much as God is always looking to add these new and beautiful leaves and moments to the relationship, humanity is always out to kind of mess up a good thing. God creates a garden that's perfect in a relationship with humanity that's perfect and says, be obedient. Don't eat of the one tree. And the first thing humanity does is to rebel. And then God calls God's people out of Egypt and says, listen, you are no longer the Egyptian people. You are the Israelite people. You are my love. Don't worship anybody else but me. And Israel makes a golden calf and begins to cut the relationship apart. God says, let me make you into a priestly kingdom and a holy nation, be my people. And Israel's response is, no, God, we need a king because surely you can't be trusted to lead us. Truth be told, we're not a whole lot better though, right? The call of God's really pretty simple. Love me and love others as you love yourself. And the first time the neighbor does something foolish and finds themselves in dire straits with the world closing in around them, the call of God comes, love your neighbor. Help them in the moment. And we start to observe and realize that to help them means it's going to cost us time or money or face. And the response is, God, you know I just can't do that right now, but definitely catch me next time because then I'll be ready to do what it is you call me to do. It's so not so good at loving our neighbors, but at least we love ourselves until we find ourselves standing in front of the mirror and all we find is hate for my body, for my hair or lack of hair. God, why didn't you make me look like them instead of like this? Or maybe it's not my body that I can't stop looking at, but it's all the bodies that I can find on the internet. And I slowly start to trade real-life relationships for trinkets of fantasy. And I find myself isolated away. And God says, no, my child, come and look over here. God, I'm sorry, I can't look away from this right now. So we can't love ourselves and we can't love our neighbor, but at least we love the God who loves us first and made all the leaves to start out with. And God calls out, spend your time with me. Pray. Give me your heart in worship. Give me the longings and the desire of your hearts. Give me your words. You say, God, that sounds like a lot of effort. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm ADHD and I have a doctor's note that says I don't have to spend time with you because it's hard to focus. And it seems that the more God calls out to us, the more that God says, come and be my people, the more God says, let me show you a better way, the more we plug our ears, cover our eyes, and say, no, 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 stay away, until we have rejected God full on down to the stump. There's this passage in the book of Isaiah, chapter 11. Israel has found herself in kind of an uncomfortable position. Half of the kingdom's been carried away into slavery. And the other half, through rejecting the relationship with God, has invited her destruction. The enemy is near. Death is on the doorstep, and there is no hope. In this moment, the prophet of God, Isaiah, speaks. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. His delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see or decide by what his ears hear. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt around his waist, and faithfulness the belt around his loins. The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the lion, and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. You heard it, didn't you? You didn't miss it. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse. A branch shall grow out from his roots. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse. A branch shall grow out from his roots. Yeah. We have rejected God full on. We have cut the relationship to pieces, and we have left it for a dead stump. But praise be to God. Ours is the God who chooses to be Emmanuel, God with us. And so even though this is who we are and what we have done, still there is something new that is shooting out from this dead stump. We have rejected God, we have walked away, we have wandered astray. And yet we are not abandoned. God has not left us to suffer forever in the sins that we have committed, to rot away in the death that we have invited, but instead God offers us new hope, new life, and new possibilities. Amen. This morning, our musicians are going to play some music, and the staff is going to come and join me here. You have these fancy candles. They're in a cup. They look like this. The staff, we're going to light candles out of the center candle, the Christ candle that was lit this morning. And we're going to symbolically bring this light of Christ to you. Where we'll ask you then to light the candles of those around you and pass it on. As we do, I've asked Pastor Brian if we could sing one of my favorite Christmas songs this morning. It's O Come, Emmanuel. I'd like to read the words to you. It's not very long, I promise. And as I do, would you imagine yourself to be in the position of Israel? Would you just put yourself in the song this morning? It says, O come, Emmanuel, and ransom. Today ransom is going to be set free. And ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to you, O Israel. O come, desire of nations, bind in one the hearts of all mankind. Bid thou our sad divisions cease, and be thyself our King of peace. Rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. I don't know where you find yourself this Christmas season. if this is a time of great joy for you or a time of longing. I don't know if you look at a stump like that and say, oh, praise be to God, that was me once, but it is not me anymore. Or if you look at something like that and say, yep, pretty much sums up the way things are. But this morning, no matter where you find yourself, would you hear the hope of Christmas? The hope of Christ. Christ has been born to us in the past, and praise be to God, is being born still to us, even in these moments. So that we find hope where it simply could not be, and life where it simply could not exist. We find it in one whose name is Emmanuel, Messiah, Prince of Peace, Christ. many years ago, but it is still today just as much as it is tomorrow and the day after. You have been faithful. We have not always been. Lord, would you draw us in nearer and nearer? Would you reveal yourself new and fresh to us in this season? We need you. We love you. Seek you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We invite you now to extinguish your flame, and when you're ready to go in His peace,